You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Hey, I'm Ray Parker. I played Darth Maul in Phantom Menace and Solo, a Star Wars story, and G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, and you're listening to Disney Universe Podcast.
We would be honored if you would join us.
To infinity and beyond!
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. That was all started by a mouse.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 154 of the Disney Universe Podcast. We are one of the many shows in the Walt's Apartment, A Light in a Window Productions. I am one of your hosts, Joey. How you guys doing? Happy to be here. And unfortunately, Ryan, he's in the middle of moving, so he won't have his sound set up for a couple of weeks. And Alex is actually on the road back from Disneyland with his wife, Addie. But fortunately, I have an awesome guest host filling in, my go-to, my ride or die, my ultimate on-deck co-host and lovely girlfriend, Courtney from Neverland Clubhouse. How's it going, babe?
Hi. It's going good.
Yeah, so thank you for jumping in. This is
of course.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. Like I said, Alex and Addie are driving back from Disneyland. Ryan was there last week, and we were just there over the weekend.
Yeah, we missed him by one day.
Yeah, we're doing alternate days over there. So, but I'm really excited for this show. We have an amazing guest, somebody that I've been wanting to have on the show for a long time, and we were finally able to buckle it down. And me and Alex had a great conversation with Disney artist Shane Grammer. Such a fun conversation. I hate to call it an interview because it was a conversation. Shane's such an awesome guy. We'll get to that real soon, though. So I know you guys will love that conversation. But we are also doing Disneyland trip reports, what I'm calling Star Wars edition, since me and Courtney went to the Star Wars Nite, and then we all kind of, as we recorded last week, Ryan dropped some audio from his trip. And so Alex and Addie give a little trip report as they do a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. And then we'll be doing our little trip report of Seasons of the Force. So that'll be coming up real shortly. But before we get to all that fun stuff, we have what we like to call mousekeeping. So first of all, if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm sure you found us through Walt's Apartment and all that stuff. And we also do the Tiki Cast here. But we could not do this show without some very special people. We call them our DU crew. They are our patrons. We'd love for you to join the crew. So let's see. I can't do this as good as Alex. He always nails this all the time. But we would love to shout out our super fan, Jen. Both Jens. We got one from Oregon, one from Florida. We also got our boy Alfredo, Sasquatch, Tyler, John, Sean from Big Papa Disney, and of course Wedge Antilles, ready for our Star Wars content that we got going on this evening. So thank you guys for joining the crew. We have some awesome tiers. We got 2 tiers starting at, I believe, $2 and going up to $5. And we got some gifts. We got some swag. We got some content that will be for our DU crew exclusively. So if you would love to join the crew, go ahead and check out patreon.com/DU crew. And of course, as I'm feel like I'm introducing to, I don't know, I forgot this vibe. We got a lot of new listeners for some reason. So if you want to know where to follow us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, Twitch. Sometimes we're getting to the time of live and everything, but we are mostly YouTube at the DUTV, where I just uploaded before we started recording our brand new video, Fire of the Rising Moons, the brand new Star Wars fireworks show from Galaxy's Edge. We'll talk about that very soon. As if you've been to Galaxy's Edge since the opening, you've known they do fireworks, but they finally added the amazing epic John Williams Star Wars music to it. And little spoiler alert, it hits. So
yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that. Yeah, so check that out. And it's on YouTube now. And we are, like I said, we are more active on Instagram, so check us out there. And I believe that is it for now. Mm-hmm. Then we will have a video of our trip on mine and Courtney's YouTube channel. And baby, you want to let them know what that is?
Yeah, our channel is Elements of Fun. So we'll have a whole vlog of Star Wars Nite and a little bit of Seasons of the Force. So we'll have 2 videos up probably within the next 2 weeks or so. So
yeah,
be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. And we got a lot of stuff, and not just Disney stuff, but we got our Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire review.
Mm-hmm. We also have a Stranger Things walkthrough and that we found in Vegas, and we also have the almost full show of Disney animation. Well,
immersive.
I always
Disney.
forget the immersive Disney animation. I always forget the word immersive. I don't know why, but it was an hour-long show that we went and saw in Vegas. So we have a whole vlog about that as well.
Yeah, and we got some upcoming stuff, things we're looking forward to. Like one, for instance, is the Tim Burton's Batman 35th anniversary. We're both big Batman fans, and especially the Burton Batman. So, and for again, if you don't know us or you do know us, we are long distance. So we kind of, when we have our adventures, we want you guys to come along with it. So
yeah. And that's why we started a YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So won't be long distance very long, but you know,
it is what it is right now.
It is. But before we get to Shane, we just got a few things that we want to let you guys know about. Some very fun events coming up, and I will let Courtney mention the first one. Or
which one did you want me to do first? The Rogue? Okay.
Yeah, since that's sooner.
Well, the first one that's coming up is Rogue City Comic Con, or Rogue Comic Con is what they're calling it. This will be in Medford, Oregon on May the 4th. So if you want to celebrate Star Wars weekend with a Comic Con with like costume contest and Marvel illustrators and just a bunch of outdoor vendors, come and see us because it's going to be a great time. Walt's apartment is emceeing. There's going to be a lot of us in the area at that time. Kelly and I are flying up. Joey, and we're going to be driving up to Oregon with Joey and, Sean, Sam, Lewis, and they're all going to be there. David's there, Amber and Jade, who you don't get to see very often on the live shows or anything, but they do the Knights of the Rogue Republic. So there's going to be a lot of Star Wars representation that week for May the 4th. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a blast. I'm excited to see you and Kelly and just bringing the band back together like we had at Concord MouseCon.
Yeah.
Even with more family members we haven't hung out with there, so it'll be fun. I believe it's one of the biggest outdoor Comic-Cons.
Yeah, exactly.
At least on the West Coast, and it's free too. So check it out.
Yeah, admission is free, so go and check it out, and bring in the people so that it can remain free and that they can keep getting bigger.
Yeah, and shout out to one of our DU crew members, Tyler. He lives in Northern California, like Northern California, so he's going to meet us there.
Yay! I get to
hang
Tyler.
out with. Yeah, Tyler's awesome. So Hopefully he brings his little ones who I haven't seen since they were very little. So now they're big little ones. So if not, we'll be happy to hang out with you, Tyler. So, but yeah, it's very awesome. So, and then coming up this summer, something I'm looking forward to, one of our mutual friends, somebody we've met through the Skywalking Through Neverland group and friends. Let me see. It is the Boonta Eve special editions. So this is
so they're East Coasters. Spencer's from Boston, and he heads up the virtual cantina, and he is making a road trip out here that coincides with San Diego Comic-Con and Disney's D23 Ultimate Fan Event. So what he's doing is he's kind of like in like the week in between them. He's hitting up all these places. Like Monday, July 29th, he's going to be at Scum and Villainy in Hollywood, which is a Star Wars themed bar. It's really cool. Yeah. We went there and it looks, on a first date. And it looks exactly kind of like Cantina in A New Hope. So, it's really cool. Check it out. It's Scum and Villainy in Hollywood. And then he is going to be back at Biggs when Star Wars Celebration happened in Anaheim. He threw this Boonta Eve event as well at Big Sports Bar. I think it's called Big Sports
in
Bar.
Fullerton.
In Fullerton.
This was like a great pre-funk to celebration. Yeah. It was like a pre-celebration celebration.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And what happens at these is he actually gets people who worked on Star Wars projects to come and sign autographs. So you're going to get like people who were Jawas, who were Ewoks, who were like Gamorrean guards, or like, it's mostly like the stunt people, the background actors, people who had significant background parts kind of thing. Yeah.
And authors.
And authors, author books, like Sarah and Richard will be there signing their books and selling them. They have 3 books out. They have Star Wars History Parts 1 and 2, and a guide to a fandom. Which is like an activity book. Mm-hmm, a fandom activity book. So,
and the cool thing about these events is each one is themed differently. So the one that Courtney was talking about at Scum and Villainy, which I so want to go to, is just so close to D23. It'd be too difficult, but this one's called Heroes of the Filoniverse. So I wonder what special guests are going to show up to that one.
I don't know, but it's going to be people who worked on Mandalorian and maybe some voice actors from Clone Wars, Rebels, who knows?
Maybe
but
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. They haven't really gotten anybody that big, but
I don't want to throw that. I don't want to throw that.
I mean, Spencer works miracles, so who knows what? So it's going to happen. But he's also so the one that's at Biggs is kind of like, I read it said like Wanted of Galaxy's Edge or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Galaxy's Most Wanted.
Galaxy's Most Wanted. So that's probably going to be like bounty hunters and the bounty that the bounty hunters are going after. And then the one up in San Francisco after or right before D23 is going to be in San Francisco.
One. Yeah, the one I'm hoping to go to. This is at Ireland's Irish Pub in downtown San Francisco. This one's called The Creators of the Universe, and this one's exciting. The main guest that's announced so far is Lucasfilm ILM alumni Hal Hickel. You've seen him on the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, the sequel trilogy, the prequel trilogy. He's been all over. Lauren Vaught.
The thing with that is Lucasfilm is right there. So
so we don't know who else is going to wander through. But the other guests so far are Lauren Vaught, Bill Chamberlain, and Katie Sabisser. So that'll be Thursday, August 1st. And I am planning on going to this one. So we'll
I
get
do
more
know that
details.
I really do know that Spencer is really good friends with Emily Swallow, so she might be at the Anaheim one. I'm not sure. There's been nothing announced yet, but
Yeah.
I know that they're working on announcements. So.
And I'm just fumbling through some of this stuff. We should try to get him on the show before these events.
Oh, yeah, Spencer, for sure.
Yeah. But check them out. We'll be sharing through up until the end of July as we get ready for D23. Just
because we will be boots on the ground.
Yeah, so it'll be us, Kelly, Skywalking, Bryn, and our good friends Kevin and Amanda and Kim from We're in the Park.
Yes. Exactly.
We'll be throwing it down there. So that is it for our, I guess this was kind of an impromptu news that we had going on, but let's get to the meat of the show. Something, like I said, I'm super excited for you guys to listen to. And this was so good. So hope you guys enjoy this conversation with artist Shane Grammer. All right, guys. So as promised, we have a very special guest, somebody I've been looking forward to having on the show for a long time now. Somebody I was actually introduced to through my brother-in-law. Shout out, Ken. Used to be local here to Sacramento. Now he's down south. But anyways, I'd like to welcome our very special guest, artist Shane Grammer. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah. What's up, guys? Man, this is fun. Thank you for having me on. I really, really appreciate it.
Go ahead, Alex. I would just cut you off, but
oh no, I was just gonna say, thank you for coming. We've been excited to have you on for a little bit. I was introduced to you by Joey, and recently getting acclimated through Instagram. But it looks like you've done a lot of cool stuff with Disney. I saw you were over at Festival of the Arts in Florida, and then recently doing stuff down at the Disneyland Resort. So I'm excited to talk to you. Got some fun questions. I never really knew the inner workings of how Disney works with independent artists. So I'm excited to at least get whatever we can out of that, that we don't want to dispel for Disney's sake.
Yeah. I got a spanking this year. So by Disney, I got my first spanking.
Ooh.
Juicy details. But before we get to some of that, what we jokingly call the farts, the Festival of the Arts in Epcot and everything else. Can you let our listeners know a little bit about you, your background, and what inspired you with your awesome style of art?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I have a huge background. I'm 52 years old, so I've been doing artworks. I stepped out and started doing it full time in 1996. But back then I was doing a lot of legal graffiti. I'm a Christian, so, I wasn't going to hit trains like some of my friends and, or my dad would kill me, so I didn't go that route. And I'm always the type of guy that first time I do something bad, I get caught. So, so it's like, oh, okay, let's keep this straight. But I love graffiti. Absolutely blew me away. And I'll try to speed up the story, but I started doing murals for churches and youth groups and youth conventions and things like that. And then I met some guys that were doing stage sets. And I've always kind of had a knack, not just for painting, but also for creating, using my hands, building things and stuff like that. And I met a Hollywood sculptor that he's passed away. He had cancer, but I met him for 4 hours, and I swear I felt like I grew 4 years of experience in that 4-hour visit. So he worked on like Congo, Armageddon, Hook. I mean, the alligator that fell on Captain Hook at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
he sculpted that. And I could cry talking about it. It was such an amazing experience. And then, so I went on this big sculpture, stage sets and props. And I was living in Sacramento at the time, but when I met my wife and we got married, we had our first daughter. And I was really kind of in this world of, I was creating environments for churches and children's spaces. And I was doing hip hop and urban, canvas work, art installations and things like that. But I quickly learned Sacramento is a hard hard city to make money as an artist, especially back in the early 2000s as a street artist. Well, you didn't even use the street art term at that point. I don't think it kind of became a thing, but you're a graffiti artist or you're a muralist, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But so I found out quickly that I wasn't going to make any money with the street art thing in Sacramento. And I just went full board theme park, learning how to make large scale sculptures and fabrication and design for the theme park industry. And built a scenic shop in Roseville, California. I had hard years, and we can have a whole podcast on that, to really amazing years, where we're doing $200,000, $500,000 contracts all over the world. And I'll fast forward to 2016. I grew so fast and started doing so many projects. It honestly almost killed me. I mean, I turned around and I'm a suit. I'm getting all the contracts. I was learning how to schmooze and build relationships and meet people in the industry. And that's how that's really how you start getting work in that type of industry. And I did a little bit of work for WDI. I was technically an Imagineer for about a month, but worked on Shanghai Disney, some sculpture elements. But I kind of had, fast forward, I shut my shop down in 2016 with about 20 to 30 employees. And we lost a couple really big contracts that were in Dubai. And it really it kicked my butt. And I really didn't like who I was at that time anyways, because I was not creating. I was getting projects, bringing them into the shop, walking through the shop and watching all these amazing creative people make art. Mm-hmm. And then I spent about a year and a half. I worked for a shop in LA. We moved my family to LA, and I was doing design work. And then I got hired by a scenic shop who was a vendor that I was a vendor to. So I fabricate a lot of work for them. Ended up being an art director, and I'm going to silence my phone here.
Yeah.
But I got fired after 6 months. And there's a lot of things I could say, but it really doesn't matter. By the end of that 6 months, I looked at my beautiful wife and I said, honey, I cannot do this anymore. I can't work for anybody. I need to be creative. And that's where we stationed back in Los Angeles, because I knew that I could do freelance work as a sculptor, fabricator, even sales, bringing projects into other fabricators. And I did that, and that provided for my family. And then I started just hustling with murals and and it took some time. And what's interesting, because we were talking about Paradise before this. Well, I started doing murals again in 2018. And I just did a couple, and then Paradise happened. And when Paradise happened, I was born and raised in Chico, California. And I started seeing about all my friends on Facebook showing me what was left of their homes, basically nothing. And I found out later that my grandfather, when he came from Georgia, his first home that he built in California was in Paradise. So a lot of things were kind of coming up in me, as I was painting in Paradise, reconnecting with my family and friends from high school. And it's kind of like a family reunion. And I had no idea, I've never had a project where I did artwork that connected with people in such an emotional, deep way. And then I went locally viral, then I went internationally viral. And, but that started that whole, just pushing murals, but that was kind of a different look. But, and I've been working the street art vibe and building that portfolio for the last 6 years.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I've seen a lot of that art. You had a gallery up here by Sac State a couple years ago that we went to, and it was awesome, a great turnout. I think the first time I met you is through once again my brother-in-law Ken. I was getting ready for D23. I think it was the 2015 one, and he was like, my friend Shane, he's an artist. I think he said he's going to go there or something, and and the way it sounded like you're going as a attendee like myself, and then I wound up seeing you at a booth with. I mean, that's the first time I seen your art up front, and just your graffiti style mixed in with the Disney was amazing. You know, for me being a big Disney fan. So have you always been like a Disney fan, or is that just something you just kind of dipped your toes into?
Well, I'll take it a little deeper. Okay, so for years, decades, I was invited to Cambodia in 2010. My friend's a missionary out there in Swipak. So Swipak is an area that's internationally known where pedophiles come from all over the world to have sex with girls down to 5 years old. I mean, they're literally in brothels. And so I went there to paint with girls that I thought were being rescued and restored. I was painting with girls that are being trafficked at that time. Pedophiles would come looking for girls while I'm there painting with these girls. And that I tell people that trip, like, God branded my soul. And so I say that to say that I was doing a lot of work bringing awareness to child trafficking, but no one cares. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to share it, on Instagram. And I kind of got pissed off, and I'm like, I have to paint something that people are going to like. And I said, okay, well, what do I like? I love Marvel. I loved Marvel then, when Marvel started. I love Star Wars, the original trilogy. And I love Disney. And so the first painting I painted was Iron Man. And, I could post a painting that I do to bring awareness to child trafficking. I get 2 likes and my mom gives me a comment. Oh, great job, honey. But I put Iron Man on there. I had 200 comments, 400 likes. Instagram, I had 1,600 likes and 200 comments. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. So at that point, I was just a fan artist.
Mm-hmm.
But I hit it hard. I was doing Vader. I mean, Luke Skywalker, Red 5 in the cockpit. I mean, you name it. And people would just buy them. And Ariel and Rapunzel. And I just did so many paintings at that time. A lot of them I'd give away. So I'd give away because I was trying to be careful, but I knew I could sell one-offs and I would sell one-offs all the time. But I started doing celebrity signings. So I had Dick Van Dyke sign 4 of my paintings, which meeting him was absolutely amazing as Bert, and those would sell in like 2 seconds.
That's one of my favorite ones you've done and that's saying a lot because there's amazing ones.
Yeah. And it was just so amazing to meet him. And my wife got to meet him. And then Paige O'Hara, sweetest person in the world, the voice of Belle. She signed a few of my paintings. I even had one painting that I did of Beauty and the Beast. It was signed by Paige O'Hara and the voice of the Beast is
Robbie Benson.
And he was super nice, super cool. Irene Bedard has signed 3 of my paintings. She's a sweetheart. The voice of Chip, what his name is, Bradley.
That one I don't know.
Yeah, so the voice of Chip. Chris Sarandon signed a Jack's skeleton, and then one of my highlights was the voice of Up, Mr. Fredrickson. Ed Asner signed it, and so we got that like a couple years before he passed away. I did an Up painting, and meeting him was hilarious. He hit on my wife and goosed me. I mean, so he was a character. And there's more, but those were some of the highlights. And so that was all under the radar as a fan artist. And then, I have probably a dozen friends that are signed to Disney Fine Art or other, Disney entities. I tried Disney Fine Art, but they kind of felt like my art looked like a few other artists that they have. And I've gotten to know a lot of those artists, and they're just fabulous people. They're amazing. But I ended up getting signed to Disney Parks. So with that contract, you can only purchase my paintings in the park galleries. They don't even sell them online. They're very if I was signed to Disney Fine Art, I can show the process on social media. I can talk about the paintings. But with Disney Parks, they're very, very specific. They'll let me know when I can share the paintings.
Yeah,
and I've been signed since 2018.
That's, I mean, I could just, as fans as we are, that's amazing. I know we both want to know about Epcot. I was wondering if Alex had anything in particular that you wanted to know about.
And I didn't want to interrupt, but you had mentioned before kind of being in Sacramento and getting your start or early in your career. I think I know a little bit more the difference with graffiti, but the difference between a street artist and a muralist. What would that be?
Awesome question. So this is my mind. Okay. So this is how I feel about it. I felt like I never fit into the graffiti world. First of all, I didn't like doing letters. And it's funny because I was a skateboarder in the 80s, we're known for being rebels, and, and graffiti artists are rebels too. They're doing stuff illegal and all that, but they have so many dang rules. I mean, you have to get up illegal. You can't get paid. You can't, so you can't do paid gigs. You got to represent your crew, all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I do not fit in. I was in gospel graffiti crew for about 8 years. And, some really amazing artists from all over the world. And so there's that side where I didn't feel like I fit in because I like painting characters. Back in the old days, I wrote Savior. That was my alias. And I would paint like spray paint cans, that were Krylon and Rust-Oleum. I love doing stuff like that. Old school characters you'd see in New York subway, that was kind of my vibe. But then let's go to the mural side. Mural side, forgive me, muralists that are listening to this, but it just seemed so horribly boring. It's like you had to paint deer, in an open meadow or a cityscape or welcome to Sacramento. And I'm just like, no, I was hired to do the Italian villa, and I just felt like I was working at Walmart, so it's like, and then I feel like, I don't know, maybe late 2000s, street art started to kind of merge, like muralists started to kind of get inspired by graffiti or artists that were contemporary, like I used to see when I lived in San Francisco in the 90s, I would see Barry McGee get up on Mission Street. He did like political, he did a screw, he went by Twist, or Reminisce, a gal that would spray paint like horses, right like in the hood in the ghetto on Mission Street. I'm like, dude, this lady's sick. She's awesome. So I loved stuff that was different like that. And I feel like when that finally merged into where it was acceptable to experiment with street art and merge the two, that's where I fit in.
So street art is kind of where muralism and graffiti meet in the middle.
Yeah, I would say, hardcore graffiti artists, they're graffiti artists, and that's all they're going to do. But I'd say a lot of graffiti artists that had like a really strong, maybe artistic talent, they wanted to take it further. That influence of street graffiti, the colors, the shapes, the techniques, I think kind of, just turned that into street art.
Right.
And
I was going to say, I can definitely see that with some of the work you've done that I saw from Festival of the Arts and down at Disney at Wonderground. I don't know that Wonderground is open right now. I think they keep closing and opening again because of the downtown Disney, refurbishment. But I was going to say, I look forward to hopefully seeing some of your stuff in the park when we're down there. But my question that I was getting to is, as a part of being a Disney Parks artist, how much of the how much of the inspiration comes from you and how much of it is Disney wants a picture of this sort of thing? Or I guess, where does your inspiration start when you're coming up with Disney parks art?
Well, no, great question again. It's when I first got signed, the first 3 paintings I did was a Snow White, Alice in Wonderland, and Dumbo. And if you look at them, they definitely have I would say, more contemporary. I'm not thinking the word. Impressionistic, but with a little bit of street art love. You can see some spray paint splatters and drips, and definitely see my style. But I think I was a little nervous. I was tight. I was a little tight, and they're beautiful paintings, but I don't think it was me going, hey, I'm going to let my hair down. And I've slowly been doing that and trying to infuse my love for street art, like the ones that I can talk about, the last 3 that I did at Festival of the Arts. Darth Vader. I mean, Vader has sold out. Yeah, sold out like 4 times when I've been signing. But he's very, outlined in markers, spray paint splatters, some drips, very kind of more of a street art urban feel to it. And then I did Grogu. Grogu was a little bit, I would like to have been a little bit looser with him, but that process with Star Wars, Disney usually does the approval process, but now I'm doing Star Wars. I've got to go through Disney and Lucas. And so Lucas was they kept asking me to tighten up on his face and make him more cleaner. And I'd like it to be a little bit more impressionistic, but I'm not going to go, no Star Wars, or no Lucasfilm, so I was just super stoked that I've got feedback from Lucasfilm. I'm like, oh dude, this is awesome.
Who are you to tell me how to draw Star Wars?
Stay in your lane, Lucasfilm.
Stay in your lane. So then I did the Hip Hop Mickey. So Hip Hop Mickey was completely a homage to my love for New York graffiti, because I'm from Chico, California. Back in the 80s, early 90s, there was no culture. Culture was skateboarding and playing basketball. I mean, that was about it. And I saw the documentary Style Wars, and I'm going, oh my God, whatever this is, I've got to be a part of it the rest of my life. And so, well, what's that? Well, Style Wars is documenting New York in the late 70s, early 80s. And it's the rail cars coming across with these huge burners and piecework, and stuff like that. And so Mickey behind Mickey is just super simple. I'm like, I like 80s style. I mean, there are absolutely unbelievable graffiti artists that could take it and do so much more. But I think what I've found personally is, being 52, is I had so many people buy that Hip Hop Mickey from Jersey, from Manhattan, Brooklyn, and they go, dude, this reminds me of what I grew up on. Nice. Thank you for this. And the Vader was selling, because of dads my age, all the way down to 5-year-old kids, so yeah.
And as somebody that does, I got more small pieces of art than I have walls, but when I saw that Vader, and I have a lot of Vader pieces, everything, the blacks, the oranges, the reds, but the way you added the blues to everything, I was like, this is seriously, I mean, if it wasn't you, I would still say that might have been one of my favorite Vader pieces that I've seen. And I was bummed I didn't make it to the festival this year. So,
oh man,
it's an amazing, and then you're posting pictures of people with it. And I mean, just smiles ear to ear. Every picture was amazing. But this was your first Festival of the Arts. So what was that experience like, seeing something that big, celebrating not just Disney art, but just art everywhere, I guess?
Yeah. So it's a great question, because from 2018 actually up to Festival of the Arts, really, it's been strange dealing with Disney. The guy that signed me retired in the middle of COVID. And then there was like a year where I didn't hear from anybody. And I think they were in this, it was tough. It was tough, for any corporation to work at that time. So the communication is, no one gets on the phone with you and talks to you. It's all emails and approvals and stuff like that. And so you never hear from Disney any feedback. Okay, well, I know that people are buying my stuff because I'm getting fans tagging me on Instagram and Facebook. And also I have to go in and sign more prints. Okay, well, that's a good thing. That means they're selling out. So, okay, that's encouraging. But that's all I know. I don't know. I don't have any feedback from fans. Most of them, do they like the color? Do they like the splatters and the drips? So for me at Festival of the Arts, there's so much to say, but meeting the fans, meeting the Disney cast members, and meeting some of the cast members that have sold some of my originals, and cast members coming after their hours to buy my prints and have them signed, and just the interaction of how my art makes people feel, how they connect to it, priceless. I mean, that was everything to be able to. And I consider myself a nice, outgoing guy. And, I'm only supposed to sign 2 hours a day, but sometimes I just sign for 4 hours and even 6 hours. I'm like, I'm not the guy that's going to go ride every ride. My kids will do that, Yeah. So, and I loved interacting with the fans. The people that bought my originals, they bought my Grogu. They're a couple from San Diego. When they found out I was signing in California Adventure, they came up just to say hi and give me a hug and get a selfie. I mean, it's huge, man. There's nothing better than the fans.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think when, obviously a big thing with art is having a connection with the piece, but being able to take it that second layer and actually having a connection, if it just be, a hug, shaking hands, getting a selfie, sharing a couple words, it means, obviously to the collector, the owner, that much more. So that's really cool. And it's an interesting perspective to hear what the experience has been like, and that really being your first opportunity to get that direct feedback from the fans, from the audience.
Yeah, heck yeah. So Monday, I was out there for 2 weeks signing, and the first day I'm on the bus with Joel Christopher Payne. He's another artist with Parks, unbelievable artist and great guy. And I've seen him, at other events because of the theme park industry on the fabrication side, and brilliant artist. And so he starts chatting. And he's like, yeah, I embellish my prints. I do a little stamp, and he puts glow in the dark paint on there. And he goes, man, the fans just love it. And I'm like, wait, you can embellish your prints? He's like, heck yeah. I'm like, dude. So that day after I signed, I went to Michael's in Orlando and I bought some neon markers, paint markers, and never stopped. I think I had 2 people say, no, that's fine. Everybody wanted Vader, all the embellished with these little neons, outlines, and then I did that here in California as well.
That's
and I'll
cool.
keep doing that.
That's awesome.
So that's like something you're doing live right there as part of the signing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never even thought, so you're getting this print, you're getting to meet the artist and get the autograph, but you're also getting something different than you would be able to get on any other day or any other place.
Yeah, it feels like I'm giving them a one-off,
Definitely
giving them their own print, and that means a lot to them.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And kind of going back to an earlier question that Alex asked. So when you come up to something like Festival of the Arts, which if listeners, if you haven't been at Epcot, you got to go. It's a great, probably like I said, my favorite time to be at Epcot. But a lot of artists have their exclusive pieces like the Vader, Grogu, and Hip Hop Mickey. So is that like Alex asked earlier, is that something that you kind of are able to come up with on your own for a festival, or does Disney kind of like, this is what we kind of want being theme? Or
yeah, well, they have a they'll send, it's all through emails, and they'll say, hey, last year you're invited. These are the themes, that you can pick from. And then, when they said, and when I saw Star Wars, I'm like, what? Seriously? Yes. So, and then we give them, like 6 written concepts, and then they approve, anywhere from 1 to 3, depending on the artist. And then you go through the conceptual phase, then they approve that, and then you start the painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
You were talking about earlier, you used the word rebel when you were talking about graffiti artists, and I couldn't help but ding in my head Star Wars Rebels and the character Sabine Wren. Are you familiar?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
She does, graffiti art or street art, I guess you would call it. It'd be, 10-year anniversary of Rebels this year. So
yeah,
I don't know if Disney's asking, but I think that would be some cool stuff to run across in the.
It's very hard. There's some really fun stuff I'd love to tell you guys. I just can't.
Oh yeah, no worries.
I already got a spanking because I did I thought it was a pretty gentle post, but because I was excited, but I had to take that down. But but it'll be fun to talk about it. We could do another podcast after the fact. But
anytime.
That's the hard part. Is I would love. I mean, I actually gave 7 written concepts, and I wasn't supposed to, but I'm like, and I told them, hey, I'm just excited. I got all these ideas. There's even some ideas, man. I'd love to talk about, even the ones that I know that wouldn't be big sellers, but would just be a dope painting.
Nice.
So as far as being a Disney artist, the idea, everything, goes through them, sold through them, promoted through them. But as far as your own art, being that you're assigned as a Disney Parks artist, are you still able to do your own art? I mean, I know you did just recently complete a couple of murals. I saw you did the one giant mural with the kids, and then the one up here in Sacramento. But do you have art that is not Disney for sale anywhere, or is that anything that you still do?
Oh yeah, heck yeah. Yeah. So I still do scenic fabrication projects. I've got a project that's coming up in North Dakota. I finished last year. I did a scenic project in Guam for a water park. So I'm always doing some dimensional projects. I'm designing a children's space for a church. And then I have murals. I'm doing 2 murals this week. I just finished a project in Orange County. So yeah, I'm always doing, that's Shane Grammer art stuff. Right. I just can't do anything that's Disney IP other than just for Disney. Or Star Wars or anything like that. So I'm just super clean about that. And I get people hitting me up all the time. Can you do this for me? And it's really cool. I mean, one gal wanted a Minnie Mouse painted on a, high-end bag. What is it, like Gucci or something like that? And I said, man, I would love to do that, but I just don't want to jeopardize the contract I have with Disney because it is special. Yeah,
change it to Betty Boop, and you got a deal.
Yeah. Good point.
Right on. And when you were mentioning about when you found out from the other artists about just kind of adding the highlights and stuff to the art, I just kind of went back to like what Ken was telling me, like when he first met you, you were doing live art during sermons and stuff, and that like blended perfectly with whatever the pastors were preaching about. Then I saw you do that at D23 too. You guys were doing live art on the stage, and is that like one of your favorite parts of art itself, is like kind of doing it in front of a group or like an audience? Or
yeah, I've done it so many times, but I've got to back up. So Ken on my phone, it still says Ken Underground.
Ah, nice.
Because he ran the underground. Well, the underground was the coolest thing in, Roseville, Sacramento, that whole area to me. And what he was doing, especially as a Christian, growing up as a graffiti artist, street artist, skateboarder and all that. Church sucks a lot. I mean, it just is boring. And you would think they would get out of that hole, in being 25 years behind everybody else. But Ken was one of those that was doing things different.
Yeah.
And he was the first time that gave me an opportunity to paint live. So I give him a lot of Ken. You get a lot of props, bro. Ken Underground.
And I really wanted it to get him in on this interview, but Monday nights, him and my sister, as we're recording this, people do host trivia. So before I forget, I will ask you one question for him that he really wanted to know and that's if you're still hooping, because he said you're an amazing basketball player, and he just want to know if you're still getting any time out on the hardwood.
Yeah. Well, oh man, no, dude. So I played so hard for so many years, and I know he can attest to that. The street ball just beat the heck out of me. I used to be able to stand flat-footed, do a two-handed 360 dunk. We'd drive from Chico all the way to San Francisco to play on 6th Street, the TL and stuff like that. And I didn't make the team at Butte College right after high school, but it took me literally about 4 years out of high school playing street ball city leagues to actually get a brain, and learn how to play. Cause I was the guy that just would do whatever the coach said, and I wouldn't deviate from that. And when I finally got loose and started playing street ball, man, I just loved playing ball. So the answer is no, because my body is a mess and I work so much, and it's family. I think about it all the time. I wish, but last time I played down here in LA, every time I go to the court, I'm playing guys. I'm playing against guys that are 20, 30 years younger than I am. And, one dude looks at me and called me an old man because, kids now, they don't know how to body and they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to bang. So they get frustrated and they get pissed off when you give them you give them butt or you sit on their knees, because they just want to run and gun. And you beat them up a little bit. They're just, they're throwing out, and then I'm the old man. So there you go, Ken.
Assuming it's a non-contact sport doesn't mean there's no contact.
Oh no, man, you got to fight. See, I think, man, the best basketball players were in the 80s and 90s, the 70s. Those guys would fight. If they broke a toe, they're still going to play. If their nose is bleeding, now they get a little scratch. It's like, oh, I can't mess up my contract. I got to sit out a couple games.
Well, clearly we know the game was more enjoyable to you back then, but do you still watch the ball?
Not sometimes. I enjoy watching a good basketball game.
I know we got the playoffs starting right here. You got a dog in the fight?
Oh no,
you're gonna make someone mad, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't care anymore, because honestly, I still think of Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Rodman. I mean,
Ewing, Barkley, Malone,
Isaiah Thomas, Stockton, Malone. I mean, those I just can't get past all that. And then the Kings, with Bibby and Weber and Stojakovic. I mean, I'm just kind of ruined after that. I don't know.
That's true. That happened. So, and kind of ending on Ken. I just know he's just, every time he sees you post, he's just super. Just proud of where you've gone since he met you at the churches and everything. So I'm just speaking for him right now. So
I got two more quick ones.
Yeah, me too.
And really quick, and that means a lot from Ken, because Ken is an avid art lover.
Yeah, he is.
He introduced me, and I botched his name up, but Basque, a lot of different artists that were just unbelievable, and so I really love Ken and miss him very much.
Nice.
So when we're at the parks in Wonderground and the animation. I'm speaking to the California side because I don't know all the places that keep the fine art in Florida. But the ones that are hanging on the wall, those are one of one. Like those are the original paintings. Generally,
yeah. Well, so what happens is I bring in the original, and then there's a vendor that makes all the prints. You know, like Disney makes all the prints, and then they'll make 3 different. Well, I don't even know. I mean, they'll make like 3 different sizes of prints. Excuse me. They'll do canvas, and sometimes they do really nice kind of one or limited editions. But the originals will go pretty darn quick. I think the last one that I've had out there was Captain Hook, but it sold about a couple months ago. But most of them sell really quick.
So they do sell the original in the parks.
The parks will sell the original, and then they'll have the prints.
I know I've seen some that I would definitely have to spend part of a month's rent or wages on, but I think the thing that always crept in my head is if it was just, you know, a reproduction or something, but it looks like real paint on canvas. So I was never sure if those were like the originals they had there.
Well, Disney does they do an amazing job with the prints. I mean, I've got to give them, you know, hats off to them I mean, they're extremely professional and they do it really, really well. It's pretty cool to, you know, well, on my originals, I'll use a lot of wildfire, you know, or neons to kind of give it a little pop and a kick. You know, because Thomas Kincaid, what he would do at the very end of his paintings is he just put these little tiny highlights of neons and flowers, you know, and different things. And what happens is when you transition light, it captures that light and you get different looks. So all my paintings will have a little bit of neon, you know, for pop and things like that. I kind of wish sometimes I could come in and do a whole series of prints and add neon to them at the end. And I think that that's something that I can ask. You know, I'm learning that you can ask sometimes, and they, if they're into that, if they're interested in it, then that's something to do. But, you know, because it really is all about fans and making them happy and giving them something that makes them feel like it's, you know, again, a one of a kind.
Yeah. And as somebody that's, you know, followed your art, you know, for a long time, I spotted, I believe it was the Alice in Wonderland piece in Wonderground a few months ago. I think it was Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. And I'm like, that looks like Shane. I look and I saw your name tag. I'm like, yes. And then I did see your Captain Hook at the Disney Gallery on Main Street. I must have been the little time it was there because I grabbed a picture of it and that looked amazing. So, congrats. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun to do a Captain Hook. You know, I mean, you could go on forever. I've been playing around with the classics, going back to the classics, but adding graffiti kind of feel to it. But then you can go villains. I mean, it's like, you know, there's so many ideas. And then you got Pixar, Star Wars, and Disney, and they haven't asked Marvel yet, but that would be fun if they brought that up at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they have a Marvel hotel at Disneyland Paris now. We're getting ready to make a trip out there and looking at that. And I believe it is actually specifically Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel. So it'd be a great place to see a Shane Graham.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, man, this conversation has like really flown by. I'm loving it. We could keep going for a long time, but I know you're very busy. I don't want to take too much more time. I do have one more question. Maybe it's a 2-parter, and Alex can even jump in on this. One, is there something that you haven't done that you really would love to do anywhere in the Disney universe?
Yeah, you want to guess? You guys want to guess? I'll give you one hint. Pixar.
Okay. Ooh. Would it be Carl hitting on Mrs. Shane Grammer? No. The Incredibles?
That's a good one, but come on, buddy.
I'll let Alex go.
I'm trying to think of something that's got like a cool art influence.
Ooh,
man, I'll just say I love the colors and the textures, and I think it'd just be a dope painting. And I pitched it, but I don't think it's a high seller. You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd love to do a Mater.
Nice.
Oh, that would be great.
I was thinking Cars. I couldn't dial it in. I do love the colors of Cars Land. I think a lot of people think it's probably one of the most well done lands by Disney, at least in the modern era. That would be awesome.
And then I want to ask Alex because I got two ideas for myself, but if you can have like any art in Shane's art style, what would it be? I'm going to start on one of mine, and it's Tron. A Shane Grammer Tron piece.
Tron would be cool.
Even if it's just Flynn's Arcade, I think that would be badass.
Dude, that would be sick. And neon, the Flynn's. Oh my gosh. That would be all. So before I got signed to Disney, I did do a private commission of the cycles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. It was a bummer because when I got signed, I had to take down like 500 photos and videos of all the fan art that I did. And that was kind of hard, but hey, the payoff, it's been fun.
Nice.
Well, I mentioned Rebels and the connection there, but when you said how you're specifically signed to Disney parks, an idea for a piece that's like a scenery of Batuu, but like with a kid doing some street art on one of the walls in Batuu, just kind of like I guess a fantasy, what a reality of this place would look like if people were actually living and breathing there.
That's awesome.
It's a wonderful idea, man. It's like, I mean, and that's a whole nother thing too, is painting parks. From what I've heard from cast members at Disneyana, which is in Disneyland, is that people love something from the park. Like if you painted, well, it's not Splash Mountain anymore, but Pirates of the Caribbean, or Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, or Dumbo Ride, or so. And I've thought about that, but I've just been so darn busy. It would be fun to pitch that to Disney and get a few. Because Disney World is absolutely amazing, but Disneyland is Disneyland. It's where Walt walked. It was his baby. It was his ideas, and it's where everything started. There was nothing to gauge. How do you build a Matterhorn, or how do you do scenic thematic sculptures and stuff like that? So and that's where WED started, and the Imagineers, and so there's just something about Disneyland that's pretty special.
Yeah. Totally agreed.
I like to say Disneyland is the original recipe, while Walt Disney World is the extra tasty crispy. Some people, you just need the original recipe, and you couldn't really have the extra tasty crispy if you didn't have the original recipe first. It might be a little too crispy for some. You don't need all that bell and spice. You just want that original recipe, the thing that got you there, the thing that got it all started. That's how I feel about Disneyland.
I think it'd be fun to be at Disneyland with you guys.
Oh, well, we'll be there soon. So
I'm sure you'd be posting about it if it was already something you could speak about. But are there any other upcoming Disney dates you have that you can speak about?
Not that I can't speak about them.
All right. I like that. That's a good answer.
Yeah, but I wish, but I can't.
Well, I'm just saying, hopefully one of those is in August. So I'm just.
I got a magic key. I'll make it happen when I need to. But we will both be at the park this coming week, and we'll both be looking out for your art when we're there. Best believe I'll be posting on our Instagram feed, letting everybody know that we'll have this upcoming conversation with you. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I won't be at this. I can say that I won't be at D23. Now, my girls and I are going for one day to check it out. But if I think usually the artists that they have at D23 are Disney Fine artists.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's a separate kind of an entity, and all those artists will be there who, are absolutely amazing artists.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll bump into you somewhere on the show floor then. So
yeah, I think we're doing Sunday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there all 3. So, well, perfect, Shane. Oh man, I'm so glad finally we're able to get you on. Can't wait to do it again. You always have an open door anytime you're able to. So, and thank you for coming in at this very busy time. I've noticed since Epcot, it seems like as busy as you were before, it kind of even escalated after that, and just your appearances at DCA. But before we let you go, can you let our followers know where they can follow you on social media, or purchase some of your art, or see where you're going to be next time?
Yeah, thank you. You can Instagram Shane Grammer Arts. And that's ShaneGrammerArts. And Shane Grammer Arts is kind of everything: LinkedIn, Facebook, ShaneGrammer.com is my website. I don't really sell a lot of stuff like on my website. I should, but I get private commissions all the time, and I'm pretty darn busy because the Disney contracts, and then I do scenic and the murals. And so I'm pretty darn busy doing that type of work. But I'm all over social media.
Perfect, man. Well, thank you for joining in, and and just love seeing, like I said, just following you. It's just awesome seeing your name showing up at the parks and everything now. So can't wait to see what the future brings.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been really fun getting to know the leaders and the cast members at Disneyland as well. Amazing people, and really, really care about the artists and the guests, and connecting them with the art and the artists. So I really appreciated that. And I'm looking forward to more gigs like that.
Awesome. Well, once again, thanks for jumping in. I don't know if Alex, anything else?
No, yeah. Echo. Thank you very much for joining us, and answering some questions that I had about Disney art and Disney Parks art. I'm going to be looking at it through new eyes when I'm down there.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, guys. Well, thank you again for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that conversation. I know I did. Shane is such a cool guy. And shout out to my brother-in-law, Ken, who we name dropped a bunch throughout that interview or conversation. But I cannot wait to talk to him again. And hopefully we'll do that soon. But let's get to the second part of this loaded show. We're going to do some Disneyland Trip Reports, Star Wars edition. So before we hear from Alex and Addie from the Disneyland Railroad, we are going to actually start with Star Wars Nite, which happened on Thursday, April 18th. And me and you were there, along with your sister Kelly, Richard and Sarah from Skywalker Through Neverland, Trisha from Fangirls Going Rogue, and her husband BJ, who they also do the Hyperspace Theories podcast.
Yes.
Which is a great Star Wars podcast for really, really deep conversations and breakdowns. So, and Dave, our good friend, Dave Scale, the ghost host from Skywalking. So, but since this was your third one, I'll let you kind of start, kind of tell people a little bit what happens at this event.
So this is another after dark event. It is a specially ticketed event, which means you have to pay extra for it. So the park closes at 8 p.m. You can get in at 6 p.m. on your ticket. So you can get in before the event actually starts, so that you can ride rides, eat food before the event starts.
Buy stuff,
whatever you want to do. So at this one, this was all Star Wars themed. They kind of had a light side, dark side theme going on. The castle was half red, half blue when the event started. The event went from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. So after the park closed, they had lots of rare characters to meet. They had the Jawas out with RD for what was it called? R5. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 4, but no, it's R5. With R5.
R4 is from the prequels.
So with R5. And then they had Ewoks there. They had Darth Maul out. They had the Emperor out. They had Captain Phasma. They had Queen Amidala there. They had Anakin there. They had Luke and Leia with R2-D2. They had a Gamorrean guard. They had C-3PO was out. They did bring back Hera, Sabine, and Ahsoka. Right now, Hera you can't find in the park very often, but Sabine and Ahsoka are out, along with Mandalorian and Boba Fett. But at this event, they brought Hera back out for it. So they have lots of. I think that's probably why they didn't have Sabine and Ezra from Rebels this year.
Yeah, it's weird because I think they had Hera, but Sabine wasn't part of the party, but she was part of seasons.
Force. No, Sabine was on the right. No, okay, then I was wrong. Sabine's not there. But Hera and Ahsoka are definitely there.
Maybe.
I mean, we didn't see them, but they were on the thing.
And I believe BB-8 was out somewhere too.
Yes, BB-8 is always out somewhere. But and also they have special food and they have special entertainment. So the one special entertainment that we saw was a kind of, I don't know if I would call it a show, but there was like kind of a squabble between this resistance guy and the First Order, from like across the way of the Millennium Falcon, and then Rey shows up, and then everybody puts up their lightsabers, and we defeat the First Order with the lightsabers, because we are the Resistance. Yeah. So, but that was like a 10-minute show that was really fun and a good use of the platforms that they have up above, which they don't use during the day, unless stormtroopers just happen to go up there and just kind of watch everything.
So basically, and I think the big thing about this was this was kind of like the throughout the year they'll have different lightsaber meetups at the Millennium Falcon. Mm-hmm. And so it's just random, for Life Days, lightsaber meetups, and then on May the 4th, and certain days, which are pretty cool. So this is Disney like, hey, we're going to do our own lightsaber meetup, but we're going to throw in Rey, Chewie, the Resistance, the First Order, and stuff.
They put on a more show element to it.
Yeah, which was really cool.
Usually. Yeah, no, I'm not. And they haven't done that in the last couple of years. I think Richard said that he saw it last year, but it wasn't really advertised, where this year it was advertised. But like they haven't done that in the past. So it was really cool addition to the lineup. Whereas most of the lineup was the same as last year.
And before we kind of go to that real quick, and I mean, what this little thing did was something that I've been kind of complaining about since Galaxy's Edge open, is they got all this stage space all over up high where you can see them from below, and they don't utilize that.
They don't.
Which you could, if you look at it, it's like that was purposely supposed to be used for live entertainment or live shows.
And I get why they didn't. It's because like Galaxy's Edge was only open a year, or not even a full year, before the world shut down. So like they didn't really get a chance to do it, but that doesn't give them an excuse now, because now it's been open longer than that. Yeah. And we still haven't been getting this, except for when it's a special event. Yeah. The other thing about this event is they had lots of new food. They did, and some of it was like food that they have had in the past and they brought back, but they did have new food. A lot of these events, it's all about the food, the photo ops, and the characters, because locals come out, and pass holders come out and do these events. And so we're not there to ride the rides, because we can do that anytime. We're there for the new specific things.
Although we did get on Hyperspace Bound.
We did ride a few rides. We even rode Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So
it was a 3-minute wait.
I know. I mean, seriously, why not? Well, I mean, if we had to go all the way to Toontown to get a patch, like, why not ride Minnie and Mickey's?
Yeah, which is cool that they have Magic Key stuff. The patch was small, but I did like it. But It was one of those like, well, when in Rome.
Actually, I still have your patch in my backpack. Oh. But like in the past, like last year, it was like they had 4 parties. Each party had a different button that was designed by a different creator. Yeah. So like Sarah and Richard were hoping that they would do something like that again. But like there's been a running theme through all of these events, like Sweethearts Night and Disney Channel Night. There's a certain patch. It's just that this patch happened to be smaller than the others. It's about this big.
which was awesome logo though. But yeah, it was smaller. But and last year, I mean, I was kind of jealous because it was Jeff Granito.
Yeah,
art.
He made buttons.
The buttons. So.
But although it's a fun event all the time, like if you've never been, I definitely recommend you going. It's just if you've been to a Star Wars event, they haven't really like. I want them to like put in like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like if you're putting in Luke and Leia, put in Han Solo, put in Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can bring in all of these characters from all these different ones. You have the resources. So
and it was cool seeing the characters that were there. But again, the pet peeve was you got episode 1 Amidala being watched over by episode 3 Anakin, which the actors were great.
Yeah.
And then we ask about, where's R2 at? And she's like, oh, wait, no. I think you said something. And she said, if you see R2.
Well, Kelly was dressed as R2D2.
Yeah.
So she said, if you see that droid, tell him I say hi, you know.
And I was like, well, he's hanging out with your grown kids right now.
Yeah.
in somewhere else. So
in Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
But
well, you mentioned the food. We got out of the giant menu that was available for this night. We got you pre-ordered during the day 4 items.
Yes.
So if you want to kind of mention those.
Yeah. My tip is mobile order your food early and like put it at like 8 p.m., 8:30. Like somewhere at the beginning of the night, eat your food, get that over with, and then you can enjoy the rest of it. Because otherwise you're going to be waiting in some long lines for food. We ended up trying the Dark Nebula Salsa Verde fries. They were waffle cut fries, salsa verde, pearled pork, avocado salsa, Fresno crema, shredded cabbage, roasted corn, cotija cheese, cilantro, and wheat chicharrones. It was too spicy for me. I could not finish it at all. A lot of the food I've tried had a little bit of spice, but has been okay for me to eat. So that's why I tried it. But this was like the minute it touched my mouth, it was on fire.
But you were a trooper because you did try it a couple times. I'm like, because I think I took the first bite and I loved it. I do like spicy, especially to me if spicy has good flavor, not just to be spicy to be hot. So I took one bite and I just looked at you. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I kind of figured I wouldn't either. And then we did get the Dagobah swamp water. It was blueberry lemonade, Powerade Mountain Blast, apple juice, and green lime glaze. This was really good, and it had like a gummy frog in it, so it definitely looked like the swamp of Dagobah.
Yeah, it was really good, and
it was very much sweeter than I thought it was going to be because of that Powerade Mountain Blast.
But it actually was a good cooling coating from the spice on the fries.
Yeah, it was. I think I drank most of it.
we didn't eat the gummy frog because it sank to the bottom, and we had to hurry up and get down for the Ray show. So because we got this at Tomorrowland, the fries and this drink, but we met up with everybody at Docu Bay 7, and they already got in, a spot for Ray. This happened, the Ray thing happened 3 or 4 times, and so we saw the first one.
So it happens like on the hour. So there's not just one showing of it. It's multiple times throughout the night. We just happened to wait for the first show. And then I also had gotten the Baraka sub, which was pastrami, coleslaw, Thousand Island, topped with gravy fries and mozzarella on a garlic roll. I like this a lot more. It wasn't spicy at all, but the garlic roll was really hard bread, so it was a little hard to eat.
Yeah,
but it still was a lot better than the spicy fries. So,
and I enjoyed this a lot too. My only complaint on some of the stuff, and even kind of going back to Sweethearts Night, which Sweethearts Night and Star Wars Night have been my my two only After Dark events that I've gone to. So the food has been really good, but it's been really small portions, almost like Food and Wine.
Yeah.
Because that pastrami sandwich, I mean, I'll just call it a pastrami sandwich, but it was really good. But yeah, that roll was a little hard.
It was hard, and it was tiny. Even though we cut it in half, it was tiny.
I took a small bite because you didn't have so much other fries, and I know we were hungry. I'm you can have most of this.
You could have still eaten it.
I had. I had.
And the last thing we got was the Galactic Princess Sundae. It was brown sugar cinnamon ice cream topped with marshmallow cream, caramel sauce, streusel, and cinnamon rolls. This was really, really good, except that the cinnamon rolls were so hard.
Yeah, I think they were
because of the ice cream, obviously. But it was so cute because the cinnamon rolls were kind of like Leia's buns. So it was really cute.
Have a good photo of you holding it. So.
Yeah.
But there's so much food, so many choices, and I know you thought that the fries, I mean, they were really hot, but everything you ordered, in my opinion, was a home run, minus the size. But I enjoyed everything.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish that Disney wouldn't be like, "Ooh, it's a special night. Like, let's make everything spicy." They did that with Villains Night. They've done it with even some things at Sweethearts Night. They've done it with Disney Channel Night. Some things were spicy. Like I said, some of the things that I ordered for Sweethearts Night and for Disney Channel Night, it did have a kick to it, but it wasn't that bad, so I was able to withstand it. But that was super spicy. And I didn't even order anything but a stromboli sandwich at Villains Night because everything on the menu was just fiery, this, spicy, that, because it was Villains Night. So they were like, we're just going to make everything spicy. And they've kind of done that with everything. And I've my fear is with like Pixar Fest, a lot of that is going to happen too.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of the menu, but they got to do a balance of sweet, and I mean, some things could be spicy, but you don't have to have everything. As somebody who does like heat in their food, you don't have to have spicy everything.
Yeah, but you don't have to have it so much that it's going to scorch your mouth. Like even Sarah said, it was kind of a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean you can smell the heat.
Yeah,
from the fries. So
I knew I was in trouble, but I ordered it anyway because we came straight. Like I got off of work and went straight there. Like I went home, he picked me up, and like literally we went straight there. So I knew I was going to be hungry. So I was just like, I need to order something.
So then we also did a few characters. So we did the first one we saw the Jawas, I believe.
Well, we walked by the Jawas.
Yeah.
We did a drive-by on the Jawas with R5. We were like, oh, there they are. And then we did get in line for Queen Amidala and had interactions with her. And then we got back in line when we saw Anakin come in. So we got back in line and saw her again. And then Anakin was there off to the side. And so we said hi to him. And
literally everybody ran in a circle and got back in line.
Well, I mean, when he looks that dead on to episode 3, Anakin, I mean, come on.
Only the ladies can get crazy for a Disney character. Actually, before that, and even before the Jawas, which I'll just say this about the Jawas, they don't need to be there anymore. They are too tall to be Jawas, and not knocking on Disney, but I've seen better Jawa cosplay.
Yeah.
So it just looks
This
very
was the
Party
first
City
year.
to me.
Well, this was the first year they didn't have the Tusken Raiders either.
Yeah, so I want to see them.
The last two Star Wars nights of the years, they've had Tusken Raiders and Jawas.
Yeah,
and they were in the Small World Plaza. So
I would love to see Tusken Raiders, especially ones you don't see very often, like the ones from the Book of Boba Fett. But but we did see Figure and Dan and the Moldo Notes on the Rivers of America.
Yeah, the Cantina band was playing on the Rivers of America.
You guys saw them last year, and they were on top of the Golden Horseshoe.
Yes.
Right?
They were way up high, and they were playing above the Golden Horseshoe.
Which is cool, but I think how they did it with a barge, I thought was really cool because everybody was able to get a good view and see them throughout the Rivers of America.
Yeah, and I'm sure they played numerous times throughout the night.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anakin and Padme was cool. They were really cool.
And then we went and got our magic key, which you had to go all the way through Mickey's house to get. Yeah. Which was really weird. I mean, Mickey wasn't there, but you had to go through Mickey's house to get your patch. And then we rode Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And then from there, we went and took pictures with the speeder bikes.
Oh, yeah. I think we got the dessert first.
Oh, yeah, we already did. But we already talked about the dessert.
Yeah. But as we were doing that, you guys were in line, and I was taking photos and videos of the hub. They had this huge, they had the DJ in front of the hub. And throughout the event, they had little signs where you can scan a QR code, and they would do like, who's, this hour, the light side got more votes, this hour, the dark side. And so you're able to pick a side, basically. And that was the whole theme. And so he was in the front of the hub, and then they had this awesome spotlights going around the partner statue. And that I took some pictures and video, and I just thought it looked amazing the way it was. And plus the castle, like you mentioned, was a split red and blue down the middle.
Yeah.
So I was in the dancing mood during that. So there's some people dancing on Main Street, which was pretty cool. Plus they had the split projections on Main Street.
Mm-hmm. They definitely had some good music bumping. It was good.
Yeah.
And then we went over, we took pictures with the speeder bikes, and we took a picture with, then we went up to Launch Bay, and we took pictures. We went to Launch Bay, and we took pictures with Jabba the Hutt's palace. They had a big scene with Jabba the Hutt and Salacious Crumb.
Yeah. Big group picture.
Yeah, we got a big group picture with that. And then right next to it was Han Solo in Carbonite, which he's never been there before. That was a brand new photo op. So we had those two right next to each other, and then as we were leaving the line, the Gamorrean guard came back out. And Richard really wanted a picture of the Gamorrean guard.
I think he asked every cast member in Tomorrowland,
when is they coming out?
Does he come out? Where's he go? Where's he come out of? So he really wanted to see him. And as we left the exit,
he came out.
Richard, look. And he went through the exit. They're like, no, sir, you can't. He's like, screw you. I'm going.
Yeah, when Richard really wants something, you can't really stop him, unfortunately.
That's probably
yes, he gets really good pictures that way. So
got a great Gamorrean selfie.
Yes, he did. And then after that, we went, we kind of sat there, and then you, Richard, and Dave went to go see Darth Maul and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So you got footage of that.
Yeah, I got some good video. They were some of these. So like Padme and Anakin, along with Vader and Maul, they're what we call the drive-by.
Yeah, their walkthrough.
They're on a stage, and kind of similar to a lot of Oogie Boogie, certain characters. You don't get like one-on-one time, but you got time to like stand in front of them, take a selfie. Darth Maul was, doing lightsaber tricks and then posing, and so the pictures come out cool, but they are really rushing you through. But I mean, I could kind of see it, but
I mean, I see why they don't want you to, because they don't want everybody taking like 15 minutes. And they do say you can get back in line if you want to, but they're still going to rush you through the same pace. So
yeah.
It's really not a win-win situation there, but I do appreciate that it is a walkthrough and you don't have to stand there, because these lines could be, it's only a 4-hour event, and these lines could take up to 2 hours, 3 hours to get through, especially Amidala. Like last year, she was brand new and they were giving out wristbands because they knew she was going to be so popular. They didn't make her a walkthrough. And then they didn't announce that Luke, Leia, and R2 were going to be out. They only announced R2 was going to be out, but they didn't say Luke and Leia were going to be with them last year. And so that was a walkthrough, but they were like telling you to walk really slowly. But like even at your slowest pace, they were still kind of moving you along. And like every time we went through it, move along. Sorry. But like every time we went through it, Luke and Leia were not out. We only got R2. So I don't know how this one went, because we didn't actually go and see Luke and Leia, but which we should have, but we didn't. They were on the other side of the Gamorrean Guard and Han Solo and Jabba, but I assume they were a walkthrough too. But since they were actually announced this year, I'm sure they were out the whole time with R2. They said they swapped, but I'm sure they were they didn't make it look like, oh, you have to walk really slow and watch for a surprise, like they did last year.
And I love the group you're with. Like, they're such good friends. But I know we probably would have done a little bit more if it was like Sweethearts Night. But I'm not knocking that at all. I had a blast. It seems like they alternate. Like, oh, this didn't work this night, so we're going to try this a different night when they do these multiple night events. Because I heard before that Maul, Vader alternate with the Emperor. And so they're just there, but then as we're going to Hyperspace Mountain, we noticed the Emperor was on the second level of the launch bay with the 2 royal guards.
Yeah, and also kind of where the march of the Imperial March happens.
Yeah, which we saw that from 2 awesome, unique viewing points. We were in line, which was kind of like in the lower level of launch bay, and so we saw them walking down the ramp from there, which is really cool.
Yeah, their feet, kind of just them
clonk, clonk, clonk.
Clonk.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And then we also, while we were sitting in Hyperspace Mountain line, we saw them walk down from the line of Hyperspace Mountain.
Yeah.
Which was like a straight on shot of them coming down the ramp.
Yeah, so that was a cool view. So, and of course, Hyperspace Mountain is such an awesome version of it.
Yeah. And that was the only time we got to ride it the whole weekend we were there.
Yeah.
But we did do Knott's Berry Farm on a Friday. So
yeah,
we weren't at the park on Friday.
But we also did another series of photo ops, which was pretty cool.
We did speeder bikes, and we did, which
Around the Matterhorn?
Oh yeah. The thrones.
The line of thrones.
Yes. So they had Boba Fett's throne. They had the Emperor's throne, and then they had Bo-Katan's throne. Now they had these thrones last year too. Yeah. But it was a much longer line for him last year. But we decided we wanted to do them again because those thrones are cool, and Joey had never seen them. So
yeah, like I said, this was my first Star Wars night. So
yeah. And so we took pictures together, and then everybody took pictures together in the throne. So it was really a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that was pretty much Star Wars night.
I mean, to say, and I think now some people were mad because they didn't do fireworks. The last couple of times they've done Star Wars night, they've had a fireworks show, and they did not do Fire of the Rising Moons because they had the lightsaber meetup kind of thing. So they did not do fireworks on this one. And I think it freed it up for you to do a lot more stuff, because I feel like even though we got there a little bit later than everybody else, like they were even saying that they felt like they got a lot done. But I will say that April did not sell out, but May did. So the rest of these events are going to be a lot more crowded than what we experienced on the 18th.
And so this is the third After Dark event so far this year, and none of them have had fireworks. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there's one more. Pride Night. So
there is a Pride Night, but they are going to have fireworks on that one.
okay. Well, that's cool. So before we get to Alex and Addie's clip, like you said, this is your third one. So how would you like to see them change for the future? Considering they'll probably do another Star Wars night.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a staple. Like, even though they've always changed it up a little bit, but the two that have been consistent since they started these is Sweethearts Night and Star Wars Night. Everything else has been switched out. They've done Throwback Night a couple of times, but then they've always done like 70s night. Actually, I don't think they've done a 70s night, but they've definitely done 80s night, 90s night, and then they did Disney Channel night, which was basically the 2000s.
The first Throwback Night, I think it was called Date Night, and it was I think it
Date
was
Night at Disneyland, yeah.
But it was really, it had like 60s, 70s vibe. My friend was there.
I got 50s vibe too, but like, I got 50s and 60s vibes, but it could have thrown in 70s too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you can dress however you want, but I was getting 50s, 60s vibes.
No, what would you like to see at a future Star Wars like changed?
Future ones, like I said, I would like them to put more characters out that we haven't seen yet. Like, I would love it if Obi-Wan Kenobi was there. Young, older, I don't care. I just need Obi-Wan there. You got everybody else. Let's get Obi-Wan. I would like to see the introduction of like Jar Jar Binks, like those kind of characters. Like get the Gungans in. Like, I would like to see kind of a
Jar Jar's line would be so huge now that like how he's been reintroduced and more accepted now.
Yeah, I know. I think, well, you would just make him a walkthrough.
Yeah.
But I would like to see
less spicy food.
Less spicy food, definitely. Different shows. Like, maybe get like, I don't know, there's tons of stages everywhere. Get a Queen Amidala, get a Padme, or make her be Padme. Like, reenact one of the scenes or something like that. People want to see a show. Like, I know the lightsaber show was awesome, but like there was so much joy for like Disney Channel Rocks or the Descendants Dance Party, you know what I mean? These like shows. They put Disney princesses on Rivers of America for Princess Night. Like, give us a show kind of like that, but with Star Wars. They've done it before with Star Wars weekends. They can do it again.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. It was really cool. I would definitely agree with you. Like, being that since I haven't been at any of the previous ones, but I have watched a lot of videos, and it is, I would love to see Obi-Wan. I would love to see new characters, Mace Windu, some like original Jedi. You got
Qui-Gon. We need Qui-Gon.
Yeah, Qui-Gon. Qui-Gons will be Qui-Gons. What's his name from Rogue One?
Cassian Andor. There was nothing from Andor. Nothing from Andor. So,
well, Ben Mendelsohn, but Cassian would be cool to see in Jen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different like of those Rogue One style Imperials would be cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Richard. He mentioned on their things we'd like to share the, Max Rebo band, stuff like that. Cad Bane,
or one of those like singers. I know that they're like creatures, but I think you could like come up with like, bring over a Galactic Star Cruiser.
I was gonna say Gaia's not doing anything.
Gaia,
right now.
yeah. Like, I mean, you don't have to name her Gaia, but you could bring in like a Twi'lek person. You know how to make somebody a Twi'lek. Bring her over.
I say bring Gaia over. They're selling Halcyon glassware at Oga's. So
yeah, but I don't know. Somehow, like, for tax purposes, they're not supposed to like repurpose stuff from the Galactic Star Cruiser. So I don't know how they're getting away with some of this stuff right now. So yeah. So I'm that's what I'm saying is like bring over a Gaia like person, like Gaia like Twi'lek, but not Gaia specifically. But
I was saying the Ewok should have been in the Adventureland treehouse.
Yeah.
Bounty hunters should be in Frontierland. I mean, come on.
Yeah, use the space more. I love that we had the Cantina Ban in Frontierland, but that was basically it.
Yeah.
So just use the space more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure we can think of ideas throughout the year as it goes. But I had a blast. Look forward to doing it again, especially with the new changes. And
I don't regret ever going, but
oh yeah, and it's definitely like I said, the company was worth it. So before we get to our Seasons of the Force little wrap up here, I'm going to play Alex and Addie. They have a little trip report talking about Seasons of the Force and Food and Wine. And this was, as I said, through the Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. And so here's their trip report.
This is Alex
and Addie,
and we are coming at you live. You can hear it from the Disneyland Railroad. We figured this would be a fun place to give you our trip report from our trip here, covering a little bit of Season of the Force and the end of the Food and Wine Festival. What was your favorite part of Season of the Force, Boo? We seem to hit all the Star Wars stuff on Friday.
I really loved the new scene on Star Tours. That was probably my favorite part. No spoilers. Really fun. Totally worth, the line. We didn't wait that long, but it was really awesome and my favorite part.
And for me, I do, as you've heard me before say, Hyperspace Mountain is the superior version of Space Mountain. Sorry, Space Mountain traditionalists. As someone who has a hard time fitting in those rockets, the only way you're going to wedge me in there is if I'm riding with, what's his name? Admiral Akbar in the Battle of Jakku. It's so cool that it is a part of Star Wars canon. You actually get to physically ride through, as it is the Battle of Jakku, of which we see the remnants of in The Force Awakens. So now when I ride the ride, I'm thinking about how the Star Destroyers that we're cruising past and shooting are the ones that we see in the sands of Jakku. And that's pretty cool. Food-wise, for the Season of the Force, we didn't get to much. We had the 2 new cocktails in Oga's Cantina, which were both delicious.
Really, really good.
The fiery Mustafarian with the
little spicy,
the lava that you add yourself.
Yes, which is ghost pepper syrup and very tasty, a little fruity as well.
I think we still brought some home too, so I'm going to try and add that to a beer. And I forget what mine was called, Chandrillin something or other. It was like a gin martini in this awesome chalice, which I'm sure you'll see me using during our Star Wars month broadcasts on the DUTV for sure. Food-wise, I did get the Wookiee parfait. It was everything I wanted and more. Chocolate, and some caramel with a nice little crunchies in it and a Chewbacca fur frosting. It's the only time I'm happy to get hair in my mouth. After, Saturday, we spent a day out at breweries. Sunday, our trip took a little bit of a turn.
Yes, unfortunately. I had a reoccurrence of an old back injury. So we didn't get into the park until the afternoons when I was able to walk and was a little bit more mobile. Unfortunately, it's still affecting me now. So we've had a much slower, calmer trip than we had originally planned, but still a lot of fun. And we ended up with a wheelchair on Sunday to help me be a little bit more mobile and a little bit able to, be seated for things like the fireworks, which I'm sure we're about to talk about. Very different experience in Disneyland, but I'm glad that the accommodations were available.
Thankfully, being or Magic Key holders again, I should say technically first time as Magic Key holders, formerly annual pass holders. it definitely gives you a little bit more relaxation when hitting the parks. Over the last 2 years, when we were coming with single day or multi-day tickets, it was all about getting Genie Plus, getting there at rope drop and staying as late as you can to crush as many rides as possible. But now knowing that we have 365 days of magic minus blackout dates.
We can come back.
We can come back. We didn't have to worry about rope drop, cruised in when we wanted. So Sunday, in addition to Friday, we got our Food and Wine Festival on. And what were some of your favorites from the Food and Wine Festival?
Some of my favorites from the Food and Wine Festival. There is the shrimp papa todos.
Shrimp papas locas.
That were really phenomenal. It's like little potato cheese bites with chipotle shrimp in this really great sauce. Really delicious. I would eat it right now if it were available to me. The beer is always great. We got to have Crowns and Hops beer while we were there. And the mimosa flight that we got into yesterday was really, really tasty. I really enjoyed those flavors.
The portion was a little discouraging.
Really small.
I guess it's understandable when you get a beer flight. It's about a whole beer split between 4. Mimosa flight is none different, as obviously mimosas and champagne, you get a little bit smaller. So it was 3 half small cups for $18. But flavor-wise, it was very tasty.
Yeah.
Yes, as you mentioned, Crowns and Hops was awesome. We love Crowns and Hops always. Just as a beer fan, being able to have Russian River Blind Pig in the park was a privilege. That was great. We both did the cheeseburger bow twice and had 2 different iterations.
We did.
The original one, the bow enclosed as it comes. And then the second time we got it, it was like 2 of the small kind of sandwich taco looking bows. Both were good. What we thought with that is I think the flavor all came from the tomato, relish, onion, and sauce, which was on the outside. So if all that falls off, you're left needing to like dip it back in all the flavors. So I think the second iteration might have worked better, although they were both messy, and you probably wanted to have a fork to get all that good taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
That being said, I think both of our winner for the fest would have to be the Snickers macaron.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If you followed on our Instagram story, you saw that we bought Tupperware at Target to be able to bring some of those home. Currently sitting in our cooler as we're now leaving Tomorrowland Station and getting ready to go through the Grand Canyon and Primeval World. I also really enjoyed the pork belly and elote mac salad. That was very tasty.
That was so good.
The sirloin with garlic mashed potatoes and chimichurri was good. A couple of those things we had to like come back for because they kept running out of them at the booths.
We had nothing bad this trip.
No, it was all good. And as always, we look forward to the Food and Wine Festival, the food festivals here at California Adventure. We're hoping we can get back for the Pixar Fest food festival, or at least the festival booths that will open on May 20th. As far as that all goes, I think, we kind of just cruising the parks, hitting a couple last rides. We just did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I had to get on the train, and so here we are on the train. I know I've said on the show before, I have always wanted to record from the train, so here we are doing such. One of my favorite things, I don't know if I've ever noticed the birds flying in the background of the Grand Canyon. Might have plussed it. When walking through, speed walking DCA, picking up my different Food and Wine Festival snacks from very far apart. I'm walking from in front of Monsters, Inc. back to over by Paradise Bay and back again. Whoa, it's a thunderstorm in the Grand Canyon. Watch out. I just kind of noticed the theming. If you're walking the back route away from the main parade corridor from Guardians back through to Avengers Campus, through to Cars Land, and then into San Francisco, the subtle changes in scenery and in music. And then obviously it's just a nice little route to get away from the hustle and bustle of the main parade corridor. That's kind of just a spot on this trip that I think I stopped to smell the Disney vibes a little bit more and enjoyed that. Wow. The lighting in here is really cool. I definitely think if you haven't been through Primeval World and Grand Canyon recently, you need to check it out. Dun.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is how cool having Soarin' Over California back has been. I really loved that ride as a child. We got to ride it twice. And so that was a really fun experience to get back on a ride that I remember and was really bummed when they changed, simply because it's so good.
Also the supreme version of the ride.
Absolutely,
for sure.
100%.
Enjoying the little baby Triceratops shaking his butt. Yeah. Shake it. Do the conga with Daisy, the Daisy conga.
Daisy conga.
Well, you got a favorite piece of merch you got on this trip?
Ooh, a favorite piece of merch. I would actually have to say it is something I'm wearing right now. There's a black shirt that says Hola Casita, and it has the Casita from Encanto on it. It's fun, kind of neon colors on the black sweatshirt. It's about $49.99, I think, maybe a little bit more. And we found it at Eli's in Disney California Adventure. Eli's. Oh, Elias. Yeah, duh.
Eli S.
Yes.
Disney. Let's see. I got all kinds of cool stuff. I'm stoked for the chalice from Oga's Cantina, which in turn is from the Galactic Star Cruiser. So though I never had the money or the opportunity to take a voyage on there, I will be able to take a piece of it home, and that is awesome. Season of the Force, we got the Jabba the Hutt popcorn bucket, which makes noise. And while I am not sure what the heck we're going to use it for when we get home, he will be getting prominent location in our house.
Yes.
And I just picked up some really cool Mickey Mouse glasses for our nephew. Excited to see those on his face because he loves the mouse. Mouse. Shout out Leroy. I guess that's it. I don't know. I'm just enjoying the music and the vibes here at the Main Street Station, seeing people walk into Disneyland, excited to see the view of the back of our head in this train as they start their Disneyland day or have their last Disneyland day as we are.
Yeah.
But again, being Magic Key holders, we're excited to come back. As I mentioned, we hope to get back for Pixar Fest. But you'll be catching us here around the holidays and for sure once Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens. So with that, I think we will say farewell. We had a great trip here at the Disneyland Resort. I do want to shout out our hotel. We stayed at the Best Western Stovall's Inn. It's over on corner of Disneyland Drive or West and Catella, basically right behind DCA. It had a good rate, and they were running a current deal where you stay 2 nights and you get one free in the future, which is why we decided to stay there. Very friendly staff, moderately priced considering the proximity. I think one of the best aspects is that the walk to the park, you walk through downtown Disney, and the security checkpoint at downtown Disney is always a breeze, as most people are either coming from the parking lot or coming from Harborside. So we never really had much wait. And of course, half of the walk being through downtown Disney makes it a little bit more fun and exciting, dipping in the shops there. So great staff at Stovall's, 2 pools, 2 hot tubs, fun little topiary garden, great hot breakfast, helps you save a couple bucks and get a great start when you're headed into the park in the morning. So yeah, I would definitely recommend staying there, checking them out again. We at first had an issue with how much offerings of television channels there were. I don't think it was until the last night we figured out that there were more channels than we had anticipated. So yes, scroll all the way. We found the good ones, the movie channels, the sports channels, all that good stuff. Yeah, great trip. Looking forward to hearing about Joe and Ryan's trips here on this episode. And our train's about to depart, so we're headed to New Orleans Square. We will leave you guys here at Main Street Station so that you can continue your Disneyland journey. I hope you guys all have a trip to the parks coming up real soon. And I hope you guys enjoy listening to us here on the Disney Universe podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, we loved hearing them. So
Cool. Sounds like they had a great trip.
oh yeah, and I always love hearing recordings from Disneyland too. So
Yeah.
I might have to check out that hotel next time. Sounded pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've stayed there before for conventions, but they weren't doing a good deal like that. So definitely check them out now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kind of more focus on our Seasons of the Force. We're just going to blast through this real quick. But before this, I'm just going to kind of mention that they are getting ready for Pixar Fest. So throughout the Thursday and even, I mean, the little Esplanade, they're building the main little centerpiece, I guess.
Yeah, the centerpiece that everybody's going to want to take a picture with.
Yeah, so that was it was in half on Thursday night, then it was almost complete, but still walls around it on Saturday. And then where usually the Christmas trees and the giant pumpkin are, it was already the Main Street version of it.
Yeah,
so we got a cool picture. We love the art and the banners going through Main Street. Pixar Fest is going to look really cool. And as of today, because when we took a picture with the I don't even know what it's called, but the photo op, I'll just call it right now. The dirt around it, it was dirt, and I saw today it's already flowers. So
good.
Yeah, and it was like what we said, it's Pixar colors.
It's
Red.
the 23rd and Pixar Fest. It's on the 26th, so I would imagine that flowers were going to go in pretty soon.
Yeah. So so Seasons of the Force. Fun stuff. Again, new menus at Tomorrowland and Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
I think we could start with Star Tours. That was one of the big highlights.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Addie says no spoiler alerts, but we will spoil it because that's what we're going to do. We wrote it twice.
We did.
So what do you think?
I really loved I mean, I like Star Tours anyways, but I think the new scene, I think it plussed it. The new scene did. There's only one new scene. That's the downer version of this. There's only one new scene. The rest of it is like when they do the transmissions about like where you need to get the Rebel Spy. There's 3 new of those. Somebody said that there's a new Ahsoka intro. Not quite sure about that. Haven't seen any of it. Just heard about that.
Yeah, I think Trisha said that. She's like, we finally got the Ahsoka
intro. But maybe she was talking about the Ahsoka like middle point, but she said intro. So I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see. I'm going back on Saturday, so hopefully. No, Sunday. Why do I keep doing that? It's not Saturday. It's Sunday. I'm used to going on Saturdays. That's why. Yeah. But we got Cassian Andor the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
And real quick, the new scene is the second half of the show. So we started off with Hoth, then we got the Cassian, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. And he was like very like, we have to help the resistance, and it was very much like giving a pep talk and, you know, being his Cassian. So
can I do my Diego Luna?
Yeah, yes.
He was like, we must join the rebellion. You got to help us. We will fight for the rebellion. Okay, I don't know if it was quite that, but it
was almost there. It was very close. Yeah. And then you go into this like blackness, and then all of a sudden you come up above the clouds, and then you are floating through space with the Purgles, the space whales, which everybody was wanting to see. Yeah. And we finally got that, but that is the only new scene.
And I loved how C-3PO kind of, for people that don't watch the shows,
he calls them space whales.
He's like, oh, these are the legend, the space whales who hyperspace travel. So he kind of giving his little information.
Mm-hmm. And Ahsoka does show up during this little scene, like on the screen, like, you know, where like the guy from like the X-Wing shows up and goes, Star Tours, what are you doing here? Like Ahsoka shows up. Mm-hmm.
Well, you see her ship first chasing pirates.
Right. Yes.
So.
Yeah.
So then
it was nice to see her anyways, you know, even though
which
you don't
was
get her thing.
And the cool thing is it was Diego Luna, it was Rosario Dawson, it was a character, it was the actors that love playing these characters, and the fact that they're doing little 20-second bits for an attraction, I thought was amazing. So she recruits us to help her with the pirates.
Yes.
Which is very cool.
And then she goes, "Good work, Star Tours." And then she says, "Good seeing you again, R2."
Yeah. And, me and Courtney, who are, big Clone Wars fans and, followed the story of Ahsoka, that was like, oh my God.
Because Ahsoka's not going to see R2 and not acknowledge him.
Yeah.
I mean, she was Anakin's Padawan. Like, she went through most of the adventures with R2. Like, she was just as close to him as anybody else. So
yeah, and I even forgot the scene from Book of Boba Fett where Luke, Mando meets up with Luke in the training, and R2 was there, and Ahsoka was there. So R2 even does a little barrel roll. So that was
the barrel roll. So you actually so if you get motion sickness from it normally, you're definitely gonna get motion sickness because he does a barrel roll. Then the second time we went on it with our friends Ty and Jasmine. And it was their first time seeing it. And then we got The Mandalorian, which Ryan had described before, right?
Yeah. And the first scene we got was one of my favorites from the Adventure Continues Star Tours was the Tatooine pod race.
Yes. We went pod racing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we did see the frog suck, or whatever that Ryan mentioned. And that was pretty cool.
And it's 3D, so it's like right in front of your face, and then he sucks it back.
And he mentioned it was good 3D, and then Ty loved the same thing with Ahsoka. He's a big Ahsoka fan. Has a fulcrum tattoo on his arm. So, he was like, when we were talking about it, he's like, "Oh, cool! It wasn't just me nerding out." I'm like, no, we already nerded out.
Everybody was nerding out.
Yeah.
That was a fun time watching that. And then we went to Galaxy's Edge and we got to see the little BDX droids.
Oh, yes.
They were so cute. I was like, oh, are they going to be out? Am I going to have to like scour the universe for these things? And no, we went into Galaxy's Edge and they were right there. They were where the speeders are, like in the garage and where they're fixing up the speeders.
So kind of like a little fenced off, but it was still
they were
really
fenced off. Yeah. Well, because like when they were testing them, they just had them out and about. But I understand why they put them behind the fence.
Yeah. And then we grabbed some lunch.
We did get some lunch
from Docking Bay.
Yeah, Docking Bay. I actually really do like Docking Bay. We did get the fried chicken bows. Sarah had said that they were okay. They were a little spicy, but it was an okay spice. It didn't like burn my mouth or anything. So it's 2 crispy chicken bows, spicy katsu sauce, and creamy slaw. I think it's because the creamy slaw and the katsu sauce kind of like equal each other out kind of thing.
Yeah. And this is where Ryan says there was seaweed on it. Ryan, it was not seaweed.
It's coleslaw.
It's coleslaw. Creamy coleslaw, but I thought it was delicious.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. I like gobbled it down. And then of course we had some dessert because I was like afraid that it was gonna be too spicy. So I was like, we need some dessert to like counteract this too. So we got the Vintinian mineral mousse. It was a banana brulee centered dark chocolate mousse, strawberry mousse, vanilla chantilly, chocolate crumble, and cherry garnish. And this was really good. And it kind of looked like rocks.
Yeah.
But you would like dip into it and it was just mousse. It was great.
And it was a good counter to, well, for you anyways, for the spice of the chicken bao.
I ended up eating it along with lunch to counter
and
it.
I mentioned it to you. I mentioned this every time I'm there, but I love the ice cubes. Docking Bay 7. Pretty simple with that. Before we get to probably the second big highlight of Seasons of the Force, there was new merch. Unfortunately, they're pretty much sold out of adult sizes of the Star Tours Zip-Up hoodie. But
I know.
Do you see any new merchandise that you really like?
There was the Darth Maul mug. They didn't really have much of the 25th anniversary, but I'm kind of thinking that that's going to be released more closer to May the 4th.
Yeah.
They had shoved all the Ahsoka stuff in a corner So the last time I was there, which wasn't that long ago, it was out in the middle of the Star Traders, and now it's shoved in a corner. So if you wanted to find the Ahsoka stuff, it is in the corner of Star Traders. So look for it in the corners, not out in the middle of the area. But other than that, I didn't really find much new merch. I didn't really. They don't have much new merch in Galaxy's Edge, even really. If anything, it's going to be in Star Traders.
But I did love, you saw me contemplating the entire time.
Yeah.
They had this really cool Nike golf hat, just plain, but it had 2 lightsabers crossed. Almost bought it, but I'm, being that I have a shaved head, and sometimes now that we're getting to warm weather, it was not a fitted hat. It was the adjustable. And if I wear that in the sunny time, I will have a red rainbow in the back of my forehead. But as we left, I'm like, you know what? When you go, can you grab it for me? Because I do like it.
As I was gonna say, it might come home with me anyways. So
nice. You might see it at a Rogue Comic-Con on me. But yeah, I thought they'd have a little bit more merch, but whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I kind of passed up on. I really did want the. I was contemplating the job of popcorn bucket, but I'm like, do I really need one right now? I don't know, but I decided to not get that, and
yeah, well, you tend to do that a lot.
I do that. I never make up my mind. So once I get more room, maybe I'll start getting that. But but I think we will end with the big highlight of this, and that was Fires of the Rising Moon, the brand new fireworks show, updated fireworks show, and we had a prime view for this. So if you would like to take it from here.
So I was really excited to see Fires of the Rising Moon. I was expecting it to be the Mickey's McMagic one. Because what they do is they take the regular fireworks show that they're doing, and they've just put they've just put John Williams music or Star Wars music in different arrangements to that specific firework configuration. And then it's supposed to change whenever they change the fireworks. Now, we did confirm it just so happened to be that they were testing the Pixar Fest fireworks these last 2 nights. The one on Friday night and one on Saturday night. I started seeing that the news outlets like Brooke McDonald, like all the Disney reporters, were saying it is confirmed that the Galaxy's Edge fireworks are changing. They ran the Pixar Fest fireworks last night as a test run. I didn't know if they were going to do the test run again on Saturday, or if they were just going to go back to Mickey's McMagic.
Yeah, and it made sense because throughout the day, like we ran into one influencer, or we didn't run it. We walked by. I'm like, oh, there's Dave from
everybody.
Dave from Fresh Baked, and we, go out as we're leaving DCA. Then we're by that new Pixar thing in the middle of the Esplanade, and hey, there's Mondo from Five Fires, and then we're at Galaxy's Edge, and there's Cole Bibbidi Bobbidi Beard from TikTok, and then it was like influencer after influencer that day.
And apparently, word had gotten out that they were testing these fireworks again that night, so that's probably why they were there. And plus, it was the last weekend of Food and Wine, so I expected people to be there anyways. And also Pixar Fest things were going up, so everybody has to be the first one to get it.
And for people that aren't familiar with Mickey's Mixed Magic, it's an awesome upbeat fireworks show, but it's mostly projections. There's not a lot of fireworks,
right?
So as the fireworks are going, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of fireworks going on right now. So
and then I had also read from Brooke McDonald's like little tweet that she said that it is confirmed that the Pixar version of the Fire of the Rising Moons will start with Galaxy's Edge theme, and
beautiful theme.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful, which you don't get to hear because they don't play it in the park at all.
Yeah.
So, like, you can hear it on Spotify, but they don't play it in the park on a regular basis. So, the fact that it started with the Galaxy's Edge theme, I was like, oh, these are the Pixar fireworks. We are seeing the backside of the Pixar fireworks. And plus, at one point, there was purple, green, and white fireworks going on, and I was like, that's Buzz Lightyear. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then when we were like leaving and I was looking through Instagram that night, all of the influencers that were there had set up shop on the other side and had recorded the Pixar fireworks. So it was confirmed that those are the Pixar fireworks,
which has a flying Buzz Lightyear.
and I saw the Up House.
Yeah. So like I said, we got really good viewing. We got there about an hour and a half before the fireworks. And
just to get a good spot.
So Ty went to look at the above the raised area where Ray was, and kind of the little patio porch area of Docking Bay that overlooks the Millennium Falcon and courtyard. But that was pretty much full.
Oh.
So we were just below it, leaning against the wall, which was cool because since we were so close to the wall, we didn't have to scoot up, when they're trying to squish the crowd in there because they're taping off the area. And Ty's like, hey, are we okay here? They're like, yeah, as long as you stand. And we're like, yeah, we will.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted us to scoot forward, but I was like, I have the perfect view. I don't care if somebody's going to step in front of me to see it. I'm just surprised that they did not really have a walkway through because we were right in front of the entrance to Millennium Falcon. I mean, they might have diverted them through the upstairs, because there is that ramp up there. But I'm just surprised that they didn't because at Star Wars Nite, when we were looking at Ray, they did have a walkway taped off.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I've only really stopped and watched the fireworks. I think my first visit to Galaxy's Edge, which are cool with the, the spires and the Falcon and
but there was no music.
Yeah. So, but oh my God, adding John Williams, like just all the scores from throughout the entire Skywalker saga was just so amazing. And then,
it is a completely different show because you do not hear the music from the Pixar version like at all. You only hear the John Williams score, and it's amazing to me that they could get it just like that.
Yeah.
Because,
so I'm glad they're finally doing this. I mean, they've loosened the reins on the story of Galaxy's Edge where they're kind of, they're bringing the fan service, which I'm glad
they are, but not completely because you're still not going to catch Darth Vader there. They're going to keep him in Tomorrowland.
Yeah. So,
for the time being, unless they do something. I don't know.
I thought it was awesome. And it was.
But the other fun thing that we did earlier in the day was the bounty hunting.
Yeah, did that for the first time. That was awesome because we were waiting for Sabine, who never came out.
Exactly. Somebody didn't show up to work that day.
Yeah, but we saw Mando going through the marketplace as well. And I was wearing a Star Wars Hawaiian shirt, so he pointed at the stormtrooper and
he did tell you to be careful.
Be careful, don't trust stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And Mickey Mouse at DCA liked that shirt a lot too.
Yeah. But yeah,
bounty hunting was fun.
Bounty hunting is a Play Disney app thing. It's a separate app from the Disneyland app, and it also works with your Magic Band Plus. And so what you do is there is a area that you go to, and you put your Magic Band up to it, and it gives you a guy to chase. I did it twice. Joey did it once because we were waiting for Sabine to come out. And then you have to go to specific doors. And the first one took me forever because every door I went to, it was saying that it was close, but then it would tell me I'm going the wrong way. And so it beeps green, and it's really hard during the day because you can't see what color your Magic Band is.
Yeah, I was going to say, do not go in the middle of the afternoon at the brightest time.
So mine kept beeping green, and then I would go a certain way, and then it would just like buzz really hard red. And I was wrong. And you have to wait for it to turn purple before you can catch the guy. So I was like, it took me forever to find this one guy. And then it was like at a door I had already gone to, and I don't know why I didn't do it.
Like 3 times.
And then it took like really, the second one that I did was really, really fast. And then Joey's was really, really fast. So, but the first one I did, it like took me forever. But it was still really fun.
Yeah.
And then once you catch him and you do a thermal scan, then you take it back to this other location, which is like kind of kitty corner to the first location. And then you put your arm in and it reads it. And then it says, oh, you caught one. So, and then it gives you credits.
Yeah. So that was awesome. One more thing before we go. We were on Smuggler's Run, and we got on with his mother and son and 2 young ladies, and the mom wanted to make sure, like, because her son wanted to be the captain or pilot.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Do any of us want?" We're like, "No, go ahead," and stuff. But as we're boarding, she asked the cast member if we could get the Wookiee mode.
Yeah,
and
if we could get Chewbacca mode.
Yeah, so she's like, okay, yeah, don't touch any buttons, don't do anything. And the cast member did it. And so we had Chewbacca mode. I have awesome video. The audio came out really good.
Okay,
you will see it and hear it on our Elements of Fun video that we coming out very soon. So that was very awesome.
It was, yeah. And I've never witnessed Wookiee mode or Chewbacca mode before. I know you could do it, and I know most people just ask the cast member to do it for them, because it seems like they have to hit a lot less buttons than what you have to hit to figure out how to activate Chewie mode. And also you have to have like all 6 of you have to agree to do Chewie mode, or else it won't work.
Yeah, and I always forget previously, so I'm glad she asked and we got it. It was fun. So
yeah.
But no, that was fun. There's a lot of Star Wars going on. If you went to either Star Wars Nite, or you're going to go next month, or Season of the Force, let us know what you ate, who you saw, what you did, all that good stuff, what you bought. Hopefully they have some restock on some of this merchandise.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Season of the Force does go till June 2nd. So there's still a lot of time left to do Seasons of the Force. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and Pixar Fest is opening up. So
yeah, they're gonna overlap. So
yeah, good time to be at Disneyland. So Disneyland Resort. But I want to thank you guys for joining. Thank you, babe, for helping me out while Alex and Addie are driving back home. And hope you guys enjoyed their little trip around the Magic Kingdom. Thank you, Shane, for joining us. This is a super loaded show, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Can't wait to have Shane back on. Check out his art. Check out his Instagram, Shane Grammar Arts. And if you saw him at Epcot at Festival of the Arts, let us know. It looked like he had a great time there. So, and he's also been at Disneyland at Off the Page and stuff like we mentioned, a Wonderground. So I'll definitely give him a follow. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with a brand new show. It might be our last show for a month, but we will be doing our Star Wars month episodes on YouTube. So definitely subscribe to the DU TV. Haven't given too much details, but every episode we're doing five shows, one each week of May, and they're going to all have to do with Star Wars celebrations. And not the event celebrations, but spoiler alert, one of them, Phantom Menace 25th anniversary celebration. So anniversaries, not celebrations. So
anniversaries.
Every week will be a different anniversary, and
because there's lots of them in May.
Yeah, so definitely subscribe, and we'll announce when and what is happening very soon. But Courtney, where can people follow you and your sister Kelly's adventures through Neverland?
Most of the time, you can find us at Neverland Clubhouse Pod. That's what our podcast, and that's what I usually try and post on when we're at the parks.
Yeah, or cruises, which you guys recently came back on. So
we did come back for from a cruise just recently.
Awesome.
And also you can follow us at Elements of Fun on YouTube.
Yes, got some videos coming up, especially Star Wars Nite and Seasons of the Force. And before we go, of course, we want to shout out our awesome crew members, our two Jens, Jen, Superfan Jen, and Florida Jen, Wedge Antilles. I won't save you for last this time. Big Papa Disney Sean, our mutual friend John from Wisconsin, Tyler, who we'll see in Medford, and of course, rounding out with Alfredo and Sasquatch. So thank you guys. And if you want to join that awesome crew, go to patreon.com/DU crew, and we'll get you some swag and some fun stuff coming up. And yeah, but I guess until next time, we will see you guys later. And as we approach Star Wars month,
may the force
be with you.
May the force be with you.